Hello, good evening, Matilde. How are you? How's everything going?
Hello, I'm okay. Thank you.
Great, very good. So please, let's continue working. This is the sixth class. We have like 4 lessons, all right, to cover. These are very short ones, but again, it's very important to first cover everything. So at least today and tomorrow, we're going to try to pay attention, right, to these details. We're going to have the last minutes to have at least one practice for the TOEFL as well. We try to do. But again, as this is going to be like actually finishing right this week, we have to finish also with this model, this course. You still have right one extra day the next week, that is Monday, to finish everything, but we need to cover everything until Friday in these classes. All right, so to do it, please let's start covering this first lesson for today. We're going to cover 2 today. One of them is infinitives and adjectives. All right, so we learned how to combine infinitives plus certain verbs. Before going to this specific lesson, Matilde, I don't know if you remember again the rules that we have to use infinitives, and if you get to remember some of the verbs that we can use with infinitives. It means before the infinitive itself. So what do you say? What do you remember about it?
Okay. I remember need, have, yeah, need, have, what else? Can I remember? Have, yeah, I remember those ones for
All
now.
right. So here again, we're not going to take a look at those verbs, but again, it's always important to have that into account. So let's remember some other ones. In the basic ones, you have those 2 that you mentioned, which is great, right? Need and have. And also you can add want over there, right? Want is always going to be with infinitives. Then you have other ones that can be also very interesting and actually very common when they are used, like decide, right? You always decide to do something. You can never say decide doing something, right? Decide. Also afford, right? To afford something is also an infinitive. Okay, you can afford to buy something, you can afford to pay for these courses, and so on and so forth, right? Then you have other ones like hope, right? Hope, when it's combined with a verb, it is also going to be with infinitive. All right, I hope to be right better, or I hope to get or to achieve right what I want, and so on and so forth, right? So those are verbs, and that's part of one of the rules that we have for infinitives, right? First, it can be the subject, but it's not as common. It can be after verbs, that's pretty common, and we need to know, right, that we use them always after certain verbs, sometimes after verbs that can be used with infinitives or gerunds, and they have to be used if you want to get the correct meaning when you have the exceptions, right? And we were talking about at that time about stop, try, remember, forget, right? Those verbs that can have infinitives or gerunds after them, but the meaning is different, right? So now this is something extra to that. It means that besides using infinitives with those elements, we can also use them with adjectives, all right? And we have groups of adjectives and nouns with which we can use this combination. So that was a review. Here you have a summary. Actually, let's read this, please, Matilde, to have this clear to go to the real lesson.
Okay. Okay, let's remember that we use infinitive in specific situations. There are 4 main ways of using it. As the subject of a sentence, to eat is delicious, after specific verbs like have, need, want. She wants to go to the party. With another another person that performs the action. Join the class. I need you to join the class. She wants him to be her boyfriend. I was expecting you to finish it out. To talk about purpose, I study English to travel abroad.
Thank you very much, Matilde. So these are the four main ways to use infinitive, and you know that pretty well, right? We practiced that in many, well, different lessons that we got. So this is again extra. We're not going to see the same once again. We're going to add information to what we know. Now, let's remember that infinitives are just the combination of to plus the verb in the base form. And if it's negative, it is going to be not plus to plus the verb in the base form, right? That's basic. But now let's start. This first group is pretty general. All right, these are some adjectives after which you can use the infinitive. All right, and you have able, unable, anxious, likely, unlikely, ready, prepared, willing, and unwilling. All right, here they don't have a special meaning, as you're going to see, for example, in the next one, adjectives for reason or adjectives for opinion. All right, these are just general adjectives with which, again, you use the infinitive. You have the formula over there, but let's go directly to the examples, please, Matilde. Let's read those two examples over there.
Unfortunately, I was unable to work for over a week. I'm really tired. I'm ready to go to bed.
Great, thank you. So, unable to work, ready to go, right? The logic is pretty simple, but again, here we're saying that we cannot say I'm ready going, right? Because even it sounds like a little bit off or out of place in that case, or unable going, right? It's not the same, even, right? Even without knowing the rules, they sound like they are not in the right place, right? So the only thing to use after these adjectives, it is going to be infinitive, right? Even using the base form would be incorrect, right? In all these cases that you see over here. So the first one is pretty simple. Let's try to give just examples like this, right? So for example, we have one with unable, but let's give one right now, please, Matilde, with able. What example can you give me using able plus infinitive?
Okay, I could say I was able to fix my computer by myself.
Okay, yes, perfect. Very good. That's one. Let's go to willing. How can you use that in an idea? And here, willing is like an adjective, right? What comes to your mind with that? Willing plus infinitive.
Mm, I could say I'm willing to help. Um, I'm willing to help for a while.
Okay, yes, it is correct, right? According to the context, of course, that can change. But yes, right, something that you like are on board on doing, right? You want to do it, you feel like doing it, and you have the purpose and the willing once again, right, to do it. So great, there you go. And willing, it is the opposite. We know that prepare is just like ready, like the example that you have over there. Ready, right, prepared, willing, unwilling, able, unable. So let's try to work one more, but it can be with anxious, likely, or unlikely. You choose, please, among those three, Matilde. Give me one example with one of those adjectives, please.
Okay, I'm anxious to see the end of the TV show I'm watching.
Okay, yes, there you go, right? Pretty simple. You just use the adjective and afterwards the infinitive to complement the idea that you got. Perfect. The second type they are not just general adjectives. They are adjectives that are going to give the idea of reason when they are used next to an infinitive, right? And the examples clarify that. For example, it says, right, we were happy. Why? to come to the end of our journey, right? That's the reason of being happy. John was surprised. Why? To see me, right? That's the reason why this person was surprised. So you have some of them: amazed, delighted, disappointed, glad, happy, pleased, proud, relieved, sad, sorry, surprised, and unhappy. So we're going to try to work with one per column that we have. All right. So in the first column, you have amazed, delighted, and disappointed. Let's try to give one example, please, with one of them, Matilde.
Okay. Um, I'm delighted to hear that. I'm so proud of you.
Yes, there you go. Good. The second column, please. Glad, happy, or pleased.
Um, he was glad. Um, he was glad to hear that her best friend was okay.
There you go. Perfect. The next one, please. Proud, relieved, or sad.
Um, I'm I'm relieved to I'm relieved to hear that everyone is fine.
Okay, thank you. And the last one, please. Sorry, surprised, or unhappy.
Um, mm, I was surprised to find I was surprised to find my missing earring.
Okay, there you go. Yes, everything seems to be great. Adjectives related to the idea of reason when they are used next to an infinitive, right? Very simple. The next one is related to opinion, all right? The same idea. You have all these adjectives that if you use them with infinitive, you are going to be talking about an opinion, not like the cause or the reason, but an opinion, right? For example, it's easy to play the piano. That's not a reason, right? It's simply an opinion that you're giving. So you have clever, difficult, easy, foolish, hard, kind, nice, possible, impossible, right, wrong, and silly. All right? Those, of course, are a specific type or group, sorry, of adjectives that you use to give opinion. All right, so the examples are there. I'm going to read them for you. It's easy to play the piano, but it's very difficult to play it well. So you have actually two examples in one, right? Easy to play, difficult to play. Then he spoke so quickly that it was impossible to understand him. Again, related to opinion, you thought that it was really impossible to understand that person. So in this case, please, we're going to go to our document, Matilde, to work with this next set of examples. All right, as you're going there, actually, I'm going to see that we have two more. Yes. So let's have that ready, please. Open over there. We're going to cover the next two slides before we write example, because our example is going to be a combination of using as many of these adjectives and nouns plus infinitive that we can. All right, so first, as we're not going to work with this example yet, Matilde, do you have any questions or comments about adjectives related to opinion? Let me know, please.
No, I don't think so.
All right, good. So as you're also opening the file, please also be sure to open the lesson. All right, this lesson. It must be part, so if you give me a second. It's part of Unit 3. Okay, it must be lesson 3 of unit 3. So open also that, please, because you're going to be taking a look at the list of adjectives that you have, because we're going to try to use one per group that we got.
Okay.
All right, so good. If that's ready, then let's actually go to the next two before writing the idea that I have in mind. So the next one is nouns. So we already finished with adjectives, very short, right? General adjectives, adjectives related to reason, and adjectives related to opinion. Now you only have two groups for nouns, okay? The past modifiers and the ones that are indefinite pronouns. Let's start with the past modifiers. They are ability, attempt, chance, desire, failure, need, opportunity, refusal, and wish. From this, please, Matilde, you're only going to read number 3 and number 4, please.
I have no desire to be rich. There is no need to shout.
Great, right? And I'm going to read the first ones, and they gave him an opportunity to escape, and she was annoyed by her refusal to answer. Okay, so they are past modifying the nouns. Opportunity to escape, refusal to answer, desire to be, and need to shout. Okay, and you can do the same with all the nouns in this case that you can see in the list right up there. And finally, we have nouns with indefinite pronouns, and we know this, right? Someone, something, somebody, no one, nothing, nobody, we know. And it's very common to use infinitive after these indefinite pronouns. In this case, please, let's read just the first example, Matilde.
When I'm traveling, I always take something to read.
Okay, thank you, right? So something to read, no one to talk, and anything to do, right? But I'm going to read it completely. I was alone, I had no one to talk to, and there's hardly anything to do in most of these small towns. All right, so with that logic, actually, we're finishing this. I was just like showing you how you can use the infinitive after some adjectives and after specific pronouns, that they have specific purposes in some of these cases. So let's take a look. We have general adjectives, adjectives for reason, adjectives for opinion, post modifiers related to nouns, and indefinite pronouns also related to nouns. And all of them have to be followed by what? By infinitive. All right, so with that said, you have access to the presentation, Matilde, even though we've worked examples to the first groups. Now, again, we're going to try to extend one more time the practice for writing. So that's what we're going to do now, please. We're in a good time. So let's, again, I know it's hard to try to combine things if we are forced in that, but let's try to do our best. And actually, I'm going to give you the options that I told you right in previous classes. You have these 3 options, Matilde, according to how you can integrate all the ideas. If they can be part of one paragraph, perfect. If at least you can connect 2 or 3 complete sentences in one big line, also very good. And if it's perhaps not possible because the ideas that you have are very different and they cannot be connected easily, then just have separated sentences. Okay, so those are the 3 options, please. Write sentences if you want. Write complex or compound sentences combining 2 or 3 of these elements into one line or 2 lines. Or even if it's possible, again, if the ideas get well together, then let's write one paragraph with these ideas in that paragraph. All right, so I don't know if you have any questions before giving. Again, we have 5 ideas, 1 minute per idea, so 5 to 6 minutes to do it. Let me know, please, if you have any questions or comments before giving you that time.
Okay, so I'll try to make this a paragraph, and in this paragraph, I have to try to use one of each, right? So at
Exactly.
least five, well, adjectives and nouns. So like three adjectives and two nouns.
Correct. Exactly. It will be one general adjective, one adjective of reason, one adjective of opinion, one noun that is a post modifier, and one noun that is an indefinite pronoun. And of course, yes, if it's possible to use it in one paragraph, great. If not, you have the other two possibilities, right? A compound or complex sentences, combining at least two of them or three of them, okay, not the five of them, and then another sentence with the two of them together, right? That's the last one. Sorry, the second option, and the last one is just separated sentences.
Okay.
All right, good. So let's do it, please. Again, it's 9:39. It's going to be 40. So until 9:45, and we take a look at what you got. Good. So Okay, we're on that time. Let me know how you're doing, please, Matilda, so that we can check what you got.
I'm still missing the nouns.
Nouns? All right, let's try to work at least with one of them. All right, work with one of the nouns and let me know when you're done with that so that we can check what you have so far.
Okay.
Great. All right, so I'm going to document. Let's read what we got so far, please. And I'm here. All right, there you go. So let's read, please, Matilde.
Okay. When my dog got sick for the first time, I realized I wasn't prepared enough to handle that kind of situation. It was really late at night, so I didn't know where to take him. When I checked for recommendation in Google Maps, I was relieved to find that I had a vet very close to my house, that it is open for 24 hours. It was difficult to find a taxi that late at night. Thankfully, I managed to find one. Before going to the vet, I called beforehand. I really needed to have a quick intervention.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Matilde. Again, we're using, I was spotting, all right, the ones that you used. I counted two. You're going to help me out the three of them that we have. Okay, so I have one here, right? I'm going to mark them. Then the other one, if I'm not wrong, it is over here, right? Relief to find. Okay, good. And in the meantime, remember that if you're talking about applications, in most of the cases for web pages, we're going to say on, right? Like on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on this place. So it is going to be also here in the same way. All right, on Google Maps. There you go, great. And then I'm looking for the other one. That now in this case, remember that what is that? It is like what we cover a few days ago an adjective clause. Okay,
Mhm.
when you use adjective clause, remember that you have to think if the adjective clause is the subject or the object. Why? Because remember that if it's the subject, in this case it is the subject, you don't have to write another subject because the word that is the adjective clause is already the subject, right? So it's only going to be my house that is open, right? And you're talking about the bed. Okay,
Mhm.
so when you're talking about that idea and it is your sorry, that is open, all right, and it is your subject in both ideas, then we don't need to set another subject, right? Once again, and in this part, right, this is a complete idea. It was difficult. Actually, this is the other one. Very good. Find a taxi that late at night. That's a complete idea, right? Then you say, thankfully, I managed to find one. That's another idea. So you have two ideas. Remember, we cannot use comma unless we have a fanboy, or we have to use semicolon with a coordinating, no, sorry, subordinating conjunction or transitional word. In this case, you have a transitional word or phrase that is thankfully, right? So here you need first a semicolon, and over here you need a comma to divide it, right, with actually the complete sentence, right? I managed to find one before going to the bed. I called beforehand. Yes. And actually this, it's like putting double emphasis, which is not bad, right? Because you're already saying before going to the bed and then beforehand. But in both cases, it can be understood as the same idea, but it's not bad to put emphasis on that. I really needed to have a quick intervention. So we have these elements. I believe that it is working pretty good. I don't know if you have any questions. I believe that we were missing one, or let me know if you have the last one. We don't have the last one with someone, right? Or do we?
Yeah,
Or anyone?
now I realized, well, I'm reading that I was trying to use need, but I used it as a verb, not as a noun.
Yes.
And yeah, I didn't use the other one of someone.
Don't worry, let's do it now in speaking, because again, the main idea here is practicing the writing skills. So first, I don't know, before going to that, if you have any questions about these little details that I spotted, Mati, let me know, please.
No, I don't think so.
All right, so let's go back here and let's only give two examples, all right? Just two. Here you have ability, attempt, chance, desire, failure, need, opportunity, refusal, wish. You can follow the, well, the examples that you have over there. So just one. What example can you give me? Anything that comes to your mind.
Mm, I could say I wish to have um I wish to have a less expensive bed.
That is correct. And again, but remember in that case, as with need, you are using wish as a verb,
You're
right?
right.
And it is correct, but here we need to use it as a noun, right? And to use it as a noun, just say something that has another verb, connect to the idea of a wish, and then you connect that to the infinitive. All right. So what do you say? You can change the idea with wish to use it as a noun, or you can pick another noun. You decide that.
Okay. I related to the previous example, I have the wish to not spend that much money in a vet.
Yes, but instead of to not, right, it's going to be not to, right? Not to spend. To make it the negative infinitive. Yes, I have the wish, the desire, right, to or not to. Great. That's it. Now, one more to finish this lesson with an indefinite pronoun, please, Matilde. Any of those indefinite pronouns, someone, no one, anyone, something, somebody, and so on.
Mm, when when I when I needed help, there was no one to help me.
Yes, when I needed help or some help, there was no one to help me out, right? Or to help me. That's enough. Yes, there you go. So again, it's not hard, but of course, as we have to have ideas, right? We have to think of anything that comes to our mind, and that's not always the case. But I believe that you have everything here and that is clear. But let me know, please. Do you have anything, any questions or comments before going to the next lesson? Let me know, please, Matilde.
No, I think it's clear.
All right, there you go. Right, so it was infinitives plus specific adjectives or nouns. Now the next one, mm, this one. No, sorry, I rather wait, right? Because if not, again, I think the connection is not going to be working. But future in the past, actually, in the correction, right, that I gave you in yesterday's paragraph, I mentioned this structure because I believe that we covered this with you before. I don't know if you remember anything or if you know something about the future in the past, Matilde. What do you say?
Yeah, I remember you brought it up yesterday, and I also wasn't sure if we saw this part. But honestly, I cannot think of something right now, but maybe in an example I could remember.
Good. Yes, actually, this is pretty interesting. It is not a complex structure, but it's pretty useful. All right, for the idea that you wrote yesterday, we needed to use future in the past because you were talking about a prediction that you made at that moment in the past, but that was not all right true at the end because something happened so that that prediction was not right, or the outcome was not as you expected. All right, that's the idea of future in the past, but not always. In some cases you can use future in the past for predictions that indeed happened, as you're going to see in some stories and examples that we're going to take a look now. All right, so let's understand. Here you have, actually, instead of analyzing, I'm showing you directly. These are the two forms of future in the past that you can use in English. First, the past of be going to, and second, one expression in past always, because if you only say I would move, that is not going to be future in the past, all right? To make it future in the past, you either need a good context or you need one of these expressions like I thought, I knew, I hoped, or I was hoping. Those are very common. All right, but again, you're going to take a look at that in the presentation. So once again, I'm going to mark, and this is the future in the past structure in the first idea, and this is the structure in the second idea. Okay, so in the first case, you only need be going to in past, but in the second case, you need one expression plus would. Okay, that's a requirement for the second case. So if you analyze, This is very similar to what you wrote yesterday, right? Something, you thought that something would be or was going to be, or any verb, comma, but something made that impossible. Something didn't, all right, make that possible. So the logic behind it again is when you have desires, when you have a wish in the past that you couldn't fulfill or that you couldn't reach, all right, for any reason that was there. It can be parents, it can be you changing your mind, it can be an external situation, anything, all right? That's the logic. And in both cases, that's why you can notice once again, before you can go with the two examples, that you have contrasts, right? In this case, in the first one, you have but, and in the second one, you have though, right? And both mean the same. But of course, they have different structures. With but, you know that we have to use a comma, and with thought, or though, sorry, in this case, you have to use either period or semicolon, a new idea, and you have to use always a comma, then though, and the period, right? Because you can use though at the beginning, but the meaning is not the same, right? Though changes the meaning when it is used at the beginning or at the end of the sentence, right? At the beginning is more like concession, right? Though I was, or though I love the rain, right? Comma, I'm not going out because I'm pretty sick. All right, so that's concession. But when though is at the end, it is contrast. All right, and also the meaning and the translation, just in case, is different in the two cases. Okay, so with that said, let's only read these two ideas, please, Matilde.
Okay. I was going to study law, but my parents took me out of it. I thought I would move to Paris. It never happened. It never happened though.
Great, thank you very much. So now we know what these ideas are, and both of them are future in the future in the past. So it says, right, when you had a plan, expectation, or something was possible, but because of certain circumstances, it couldn't happen, right? In that case, you use the future in the past. Now, the two examples again are similar to the first two examples, but in this case, both are with be going to in past, right? So I was going to have a party, comma, but nobody could come, or she was going to stay at home, semicolon, or period, right? Remember the rule. However, comma, her friends called her to go out, right? In both cases, again, the first idea was a plan, but it didn't happen, right? I was going to have a party, but it wasn't possible. She was going to stay home, but at the end, she didn't stay home, right? She went out with her friend. That's the logic. Now, to write some ideas, let's have this go to the examples or to write the ideas in the document. It's possible to use future in the past for plans that happened, all right, but it's not as common as I told you. It's going to be very likely, like 90% of the cases, that is with something that didn't happen, all right, instead of the opposite. For example, this is not common. You can say, Tom always knew he would be a good student, all right, and he was a good student. Okay, so it's like a prediction, but in the sense of, yes, he knew it was going to be like that, right? He was sure about it. Even though it was a prediction, he was so sure that at the end it happened, right? Or this one, this is like to when you tell a story. Mary was very happy on Saturday morning. She was going to visit her friends that evening, right? And she did visit her friends, right? But here we just put an emphasis on the idea that she was on the process of doing that. That was not a prediction, but something that we're telling that happened. All right, so in these two cases, the actions happened. But again, this is not as common as the ones that we're going to work in today's class. All right, so let me read this also for you so that you can write some ideas. First would be going to in past. Okay, was were in past. You describe plan or intention with be was in past. And again, this event is not going to happen, or actually didn't happen, better said, in that past situation. And what you need is just this subject, right? Be going to in past plus the base form of the verb. But besides that, it's not there. Natalia, I want to show you that first. You need a structure like this. Future in the past, comma, but, or semicolon, however, comma, or at the end, comma, though, right? Those are the elements that you need, one of those three. And in that part, you need to tell me that something happened, that someone took you out of it. It means convinced you not to do it, like in number three, right? Someone convinced me not to do it is the same as number two. Someone took me out of it. Or I changed my mind again, but these are four ideas. You can tell me whatever you believe is a good reason for you or for that person not to do the action that you thought or that person thought would do. Okay, that's the logic. So again, to write a good example in future in the past, you have to take that into account. Okay, so I'm going back. This is the formula. You know, actually you know the formula, right? It was be going to in past. So I rather leave you with this formula over here. So first, let me know if you have any questions so far, please, Matilde.
No, no questions.
All right, good. So let's go please to our file, and we're going to write, let me see if we have the time. Yes, it's two. Give me just two ideas with the be going to in past and give me the explanation for why it didn't happen. One of them has to be with one of those contrast words that you have, and the other one has to be a different contrast word, right? For if the first one is but, the second one is going to be however, or vice versa, right? So let's do it, please. Let's have a couple of minutes, 3 minutes tops, and we check when you are done, please.
Okay. I think it's done. You said 2 examples, right?
That's right, just 2. So I'm going there so that we can read, please. And I am here with you. Let's read those 2 ideas, please, Matilde.
I I was going to facilitate a workshop this week, but I got sick. It was not possible to do it with this cough. She was going to adopt a dog. Her parents told her not to do it, though.
Thank you very much. Great. Yes, be going to in past. You have but, the explanation, and even you have extra ideas for that, right? Details. It's perfect. And she was going to adopt the dot. Also, you period, right? The comma and though at the end, which is great. Okay, good. No observations over there. If you have questions, you're going to let me know. But I'm going to go to the last part for this presentation, that it is going to be would. Would is the same as be going to in past, but again, you need something. It has to be paired. It says often, okay, paired with this, but actually to form an idea that is past, it has to be paired with one of these first ideas. All right, I mean, think, suspect, know, or hope. And again, and the most common ones are think and hope. You also use know, as I was telling before, but think and hope are the most common verbs that you use at the beginning, like I thought or I was hoping. Okay, those 2 are very common to begin the idea with would. So you say, I thought I would be a doctor, but I changed my mind, right? Or I was hoping, right, that I would, I don't know, right, travel to this country, right? However, I don't know, right? I couldn't save up the money that I needed, and I couldn't. All right, so that's the idea. Always paired with one expression at the beginning to make it future in the past. And in this case, all right, in Matilde, differently to the first one, actually you can use them in both, in the same case, both of them. I mean, if you take a look at this, it says future plan or intention. That's the general way in which you use future in the past. But if you want to be very precise with would, you are going to use it with expectation or possibility, right? Not necessarily a plan. That's something that you can take into account. But again, of course, it's not a rule. It's just a possibility that you have. And when they say not necessarily, it means that you can also use it with a plan, but it's not an obligation. You know the logic, right? A subject plus thought or knew or was hoping plus another subject that is going to be the real subject in this case, plus would, affirmative or negative, the base form, and the same structure that you see over here, right? Future in the past plus one of those contrast words that you have over there, plus anything that happened in the past that didn't let that plan or expectation happen. All right, that's the idea. So if you have questions, please let me know. If not, to finish today, we're also going to work with 2 ideas, please, using would in this case. All right.
No questions.
Okay, good. So this time I'm going to leave you with this formula. Let's do it, please. Let me know when you're done. We check and we finish today with that.
Okay. I finish.
Good. I'm going there with you, Matilde. And up here, let's read those two ideas, please.
I thought I would finish my master's degree by now. And I was hoping you would change that curtain for me, but well, I was writing that one. I think it sounds more, I mean, it doesn't sound like something in the past that it was not achieved.
Yes, and actually, again, remember that in both cases, it can be about something that happened, right? It's always possible that writing the idea would be going to or would. It can be about something that happened. But to be sure that you want to make it clear, remember that you need always the second part, right? In these two cases, you are missing the second part, right? The but or the however part to make it clear that it didn't happen, right? So for example, I was hoping you would change that curtain for me, right? However, right, I already did it. Or I don't know, I decided to do it myself, right? So at the end, I didn't need your help, right? So if you say that again, it can be understood as something that indeed happened. But to make it once again, all right, in the way that we want to transmit the idea as future in the past, you need that second part. All right, that's going to be the only thing.
Okay, so I could say here, but I didn't.
Exactly. Yes, I would finish my master's degree by now, but I didn't, right? Or something happened, anything that didn't let that action, right, take place as you wanted is going to be a good idea to have it at the end of that. Because again, if not, it can be related to something that indeed happened.
Okay.
All right, because in the second one, as you said, yes, it feels in that way, unless you give the clarification of mentioning anything that interrupted or made that not possible. Okay, so now we don't need to add anything now, but that's the idea of future in the past. Be going to or would, they are the only ones that can be used for this purpose. All right, future in the past. I don't know if you have any questions about it, Matilde. We're going to finish with these two lessons. Let me know, please, if you have any comments or any questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm sharing the survey now with you. As always, there you go. Thanks for being today. All right, even more than other days, right? Because I know that you're very sick. I try not to make you speak a lot, but even though I was doing it, all right, because I really need you to at least give me some of those ideas. But I really hope that you get better soon. All right.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
You're
I hope
welcome.
so too.
So yes. So see you tomorrow. Have a good night.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye bye.